All right, good morning, everybody. Well, it'll be afternoon by the time I upload this, so good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to week number 14. That is right, week number 14 of your 9443 class, which is your academic libraries class. As always, I'm your professor, Dr. J.S.K. Austin. And this week we will have a shorter check-in video. I know I say that a lot, and sometimes it does happen, and sometimes it doesn't. But I am getting married this weekend, so I am trying to address all these little incidentals that are coming along with that. So, yes, I am going to make this one a little shorter, and also next week's, which will be the final one, might also be a little shorter just because it'll be the post-wedding week and I will be hoping that my life returns to normal. So that's where we are there. Let me first start out by saying that oh man, that's my dog. Hold on. Okay, my dog does that from time to time. I'm sorry. He's stopped. Okay, so I first want to start out by saying that, as I mentioned earlier, this is week 14, so that means that we only have 2 more weeks left, this week and next week, because it is a 15-week course as far as content is concerned. So, you all have almost made it. Be sure that you are working on those final essays, which are due on, and I should have that actual due date, December 13th at 11:59 p.m. Central Time. And so that is going to be, it is going to be basically 2 weeks from today. I'm recording this on the 29th, and they will be due at 11:59 p.m. In 2 weeks. So you still have plenty of time to get rolling on those, and they really should not take that long. I mean, they will take a while, but they compared to some of the other assignments that I give out or that you've gotten from other professors in CISL, these 1,500 word essays probably aren't going to be that time consuming. Okay. But make sure you get rolling on those and have those ready to submit to me within 2 weeks. So there's that. And then you have 2 more discussion board posts, and I think that these 2 are good, 2 good ones to finish off with. We have the standards and evaluation discussion board prompt this week that will be due on December 5th, which is this upcoming Sunday at 11:59 p.m. And that will be based on your readings from this week. And then we have kind of a safety and security unit that's a little light that we're going to close out on, and those discussion board posts will be due on December 12th at 11:59 p.m. So those are the things that you've got coming up. Make sure that you put forth your best efforts for these last remaining discussion boards, and that you put forth your best effort as well for your final assignment. And if you do that, then you should come out looking pretty good as far as your final grade for this class. All right, let me talk about one thing, and I will talk about that for maybe about 7 to 8 minutes or so, and then we will be done with this check-in video. So what I did want to talk about, and I'm revisiting something that I showed you all earlier, the 2020 top trends in academic libraries. This document can be Googled. It's open source. I mean, not open source. It's open access. So as long as you Google this headline here, you'll be able to find it, and you don't have to log in or pay or anything like that. And what I wanted to do was I actually wanted to, we talked a little bit about student well-being when I visited this site previously, but now I do want to talk about it, especially since it's come up in the discussion boards a few times. I do want to talk about this, these things related to machine learning and AI, and I think that there is some really important information to kind of consider on this page, and you can follow these. You can kind of follow these EndNote markers here in order to find the readings. They're all down here in order to find the readings that correspond with this section if you want to learn more. But when it comes to AI, this is something that I think a great point is being made in this second paragraph here. And so I'm actually just going to read this aloud. In his 2019 Library Technology Report, Jason Griffney argues that libraries should invest in developing these systems internally. AI and machine learning are powerful tools, but without care, they can manifest algorithmic bias, erode privacy and intellectual freedom, and potentially enhance confirmation bias and information filtering of the sort present in contemporary media. Griffey argues that localized machine learning and artificial intelligence environments, i.e., those developed internally, allow libraries to critically examine training data and computational processes to ensure that bias present in data is not amplified through those processes, and professional values are represented in data collection and computational processes. The report also contains several examples of what library investment in these areas could look like. So some things that I do want to say about that. Yes, I would agree with this 100%, 100%. I think that when we do these sort of outsourcing things, when libraries sort of outsource or go to vendors to develop these things as opposed to developing them internally, I think that what potentially happens is you have people who are involved in those processes externally who may not have library and information science degrees, and so they may not really value and hold dear the same values that we who have those degrees take seriously. And for instance, the privacy thing is a huge one. So hopefully by now, if you've been in the program at least 2 semesters, you have a feel for the fact that libraries are very adamant about trying to protect the privacy of patrons and library users. We do not, for instance, unless they have a warrant, you will not give out any sort of checkout history to a law enforcement officer who is trying to see what what books and materials a patron has previously checked out. You probably shouldn't even have that information stored. And a lot of the circulation software, as soon as the books are checked back in, that goes away. So librarians won't even know or be able to access what a patron has previously checked out. But if you still have that information stored for some reason, do not give it out without a warrant to anyone. Do not sell it to a third party or anything of that nature. And those are rules that we abide by here in the library profession that are not necessarily abided by people who work in big tech. I don't think big tech was really all that concerned about privacy until the government and the users started making them care a little bit more about those issues. But I think there was one point where big tech was willing to sell your information to anyone and was willing to collect any and all information about you, which I think they're still doing. But I think that I don't know the minutia about it, but I think that they have to have more consent from the user now as far as what information they collect. But still, I would say that probably if you are using the resources, the apps that are put out by big tech, they probably still do retain some ownership rights to what you are putting into their app or into whatever product they're doing. A good rule of thumb, as they say in the tech world, is if you don't pay for the product, you are the product. Okay. So I do think that these things need to be developed internally. And then also when it comes to bias, algorithmic bias is something that, again, we care about in our field, but it's probably not something that big tech is as concerned about, or at least it wasn't until people started really holding their feet to the fire. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull up the name of a book that might interest you all. If you're interested in algorithmic bias, then this book was very, very popular, and it's something that you can probably get at a lot of libraries. It's Algorithms of Oppression: How Search Engines Reinforce Racism. And this is something that we, because we're very attuned to diversity, equity, and inclusion issues here in the library science field. And so if you are interested, first of all, if you're interested in seeing how these algorithms may be contributing to, just pulling racist results and that sort of thing, because racism is kind of built into some of these algorithms, then Algorithms of Oppression is a book that you might want to read and kind of check out. But another thing with Algorithms of Oppression, another thing about, as you can see, my mind is focused on the wedding. But as you can see, hold on, let me pause and get myself together. Okay, yeah, my brain is a little tired, y'all, but let me get this right. So, what I was trying to say is that when you are developing these things internally, what you then you may be able to actually concentrate on making sure that these AI and these other things that we are trying to implement into libraries, we can kind of make sure that these things are really set to the values that we hold dear in the library science field. And let's keep it real. Our main value is not profit like it might be in big tech. Librarians are not in it for the profit. Now, don't get me wrong. This was the best way for me to end up paying my bills. Honestly, this is why I'm here. But, you know what I'm saying? I was never going to get rich, and I was never going to make it in a for-profit environment. And that's the case of most librarians. And when it comes to big tech and what their motivations really are profit. So they may not have as much of a feeling of need to make sure that these algorithms that they're developing are as free of bias as they possibly can be. But that's something that we can correct in the library science field if we are hiring internally. So if you go into academic libraries, and especially if you make it to the admin level, try to lobby for, as strong of a library tech department as you possibly can have, and try to develop these things internally. I think that Library Trends has the right idea there. And so I hope that advice is heeded. And so that is something that I want you all to just keep tucked in your minds as you matriculate and become academic librarians, if that's the route you choose to go. There are benefits to trying to actually have these types of people within your workforce as opposed to outsourcing these services. And when you have them under the umbrella of operating in the best way for your library, then I think that is when you can really hold your tech people to the fire, that hold their feet to the fire as far as making sure that what they develop whatever that they develop has it keeps the values basically of librarianship at the forefront, which won't always be the case when you're outsourcing. So we are going to leave it there. We kept it under 15 minutes. Thank you. And I also hope you sped it up. And with that said, I am Dr. Jace, peace and grace, and I will see you next week for the final check-in video for this class. And when I do, I will be a married man. So lots of changes. All right, y'all take care. Bye.